I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York, I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast. So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? This week on the Dallas Famous Podcast, it's Jordan Maddox. Jordan is the social media manager and media editor for the Dallas Observer. She started as an intern and worked her way up to basically becoming the face of the Observer online. We talk about her journey from small-town Texas to covering Dallas's food, music, and culture scene, and what it's really like working in media today. I know you're going to like this one. Here it is. The Dallas Famous Podcast is supported by the Mullen & Mullen Music Project. The Music Project was created by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm to champion the independent music scene in North Texas. Welcome back to the Dallas Famous Podcast. We are once again at the Deep Ellum Community Center. I'm sitting with the lovely Jordan Maddox. She is the social media manager of the Dallas Observer.
Is that media editor?
Editor, okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, got the newsy title.
Yeah. And if you think you've seen her before, it's because you've been on the internet.
Probably.
And she's, I mean, in a way, you're almost like the face of the Observer. I mean, you know, other people have started to do videos, but for a long time, it was mostly just you.
Yeah, it was that for a little bit. And I mean, as kind of a credit to starting as an intern and them wanting me to just start a TikTok account.
Right.
So since then, I've kind of like been the face of it, which is fun because I love the Observer and what we do. So
you came on as an intern.
Mm-hmm.
So like, was that? I mean, I'm going out of order. I'm going to come back to your bio, but so when they hired you, was it because they're like, we need a youthful person to run this department, or?
Well, when I got this title, the editor title, yes, but it wasn't quite the like youthfulness. I don't know. It was just, we're trying to refresh social media. At that point, there had not been a social media editor, I think, since before COVID. Mm-hmm. And our socials like kind of largely looked like ad spaces.
Yeah.
So our Instagram, whenever I took it over, it was just like promos, like ad promos for every photo. And I was like, okay, we're going to try to like revamp this and be like, hey, actually, we're a newspaper in case you guys didn't know this, because it didn't look like it if you went on our Instagram.
Yeah.
So whenever I got switched over to manning all of our social media, it was more so like we might be potentially alienating our base by not showing, hey, we do news. Which on Facebook, there was plenty of news going out and stuff like that. But on the more visual platforms, it was not quite like that.
Right. I mean, Observer has been great to me. I still work for Observer. I love it. I will say that it's sometimes very polarizing on social media.
Yeah.
There seems to be, I mean, I finally had, I had the cover last week and it had a couple of venue owners, and I finally started getting some slack on that. And like, I haven't had any, you know, usually I'm just doing nice, cool things. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of crossfire going on.
Yeah, I mean, social media often comes with its, how do I say this kindly? It often comes with its trolls. Like, there are people that, you know, there's going to be hate no matter what. And working in news in particular, like you said, there's a lot of crossfire that's happening, and yeah, I kind of get caught up in it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, I got questions about that, but I want to go back to the beginning of your story. So, you're a North Texas girl, or?
So I'm actually from East Texas.
East Texas,
yeah.
Okay.
So about 3 hours away, tiny little town, Henderson, Texas, and that's where I started my news career, if it can be called that. I was an intern at our little daily paper, hometown daily paper, and I was there I was there for the changeover from daily printing to weekly printing. So,
because it was just not being read as much. And
yeah. And so like the start of my career at 17 years old, just like they had me doing grunt work. I was helping put up the InDesign pages and like, I don't know, typing up some advertisements and stuff like that.
Right.
They eventually let me write an opinion column. But yeah, I was there for when print was starting to wobble
Right.
pretty severely.
What made you want to work there? What was your
Oh
catalyst
my
for that?
gosh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
Yeah, Rory Gilmore. I watched Gilmore Girls with my mom, and I always enjoyed writing.
Uh-huh.
And I watched that. And growing up where I grew up is the middle of nowhere. A lot of people don't. I don't want to say that. That might not be correct. People often get stuck there, and they don't go off and pursue a higher education. They find jobs nearby that tend to be manual labor jobs, stuff like that. And I knew I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I watched Gilmore Girls, and I was like, you can be a journalist? That's a thing you can do? So I was like,
That's
oh my
funny.
gosh, let me see what this is about. And in high school, I was in our yearbook class, and they're like, we have kind of a newspaper, but it's not anything special, but we have the Henderson Daily News. And they often will hire an intern from us. You should go talk to them.
Uh-huh.
And I went to go talk to them. Luckily, the editor-in-chief was the father of one of the guys I played tennis with.
Okay.
And so he was like, yeah, of course, come on. And so I wanted to be Henderson's Rory Gilmore, which for a small town, you can't quite be that.
Right,
But-
right. That's kind of cute, actually. But alongside of that, you're growing up in this complete internet
Oh
world,
my gosh.
and so. When you got to the paper, it was still a traditional
Mm-hmm.
kind of paper thing. Were you starting to make connections? This is more journalism is happening more on here on the internet.
Well, I didn't recognize that, I don't think, until I was in college.
Okay.
So I started working for the Henderson Daily News, Henderson News now, my junior year of high school. And then 2 years later, I was in college pursuing a journalism degree. And I started noticing the habits between myself and my friends. We weren't picking up newspapers. I was going on to, the Apple News app. I was going onto there and reading some stuff. I was largely getting stuff from Instagram though. And it was from credible news sources. I was reading the Washington Post, Dallas Morning News, Dallas Observer. I was reading local and national, sometimes international news with BBC. But it's something that I just kind of picked up on socially as, a journalism student. Where are people consuming? And I was seeing all of my peers pretty much only using Instagram, maybe Facebook, but mostly Instagram, and then TikTok started, and really started picking up speed when I was in college, and that's where people were starting to actually engage with it. And so when I went into my master's degree, I was like, I'm not seeing a huge trend of newspapers really tapping into this. It wasn't that new. Social media wasn't that new. But the way that news outlets were using it was the Washington Post, as is standard, they were ahead of the curve with it. And they hopped on TikTok with Dave Jorgensen, and he was creating UGC. He was creating these video news stories that were kind of silly but very engaging for a younger audience. So I used that as kind of my focus point in my research. And I was like, no one's doing this yet, but I'm seeing them get hundreds of thousands of views on this. And I know all of my friends are using social media for news. This is what I'm studying. So that was my whole master's degree focus, was how the news functions on social media and how different platforms influence that.
Was that something that it was UNT, is that right?
Yeah.
Was that something that was being offered, or you just kind of made that into your thing?
I just so whenever you pursue your master's degree, you have base courses where you basically are presented with a method. So you have qualitative research, quantitative research, ethics. Those are the different classes. Within those, though, when you're in your master's degree, you can really pursue whatever you want to study. So you can do your own research on whatever topic you want, as long as it fits. And I was like, social media, let's do social media.
Yeah. Wow. Did you think it was going to lead to a career, or is that the plan all along?
Well, there was never a plan. That sounds so bad. I'm I'm a first generation college student, I guess, technically. My grandmother went to college, but my parents didn't, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, you go to class. You go to class and you keep going until you get some degrees out of it. And
Right.
it was less of a plan and more of like, I see that this field that I've grown to love is changing. How can I fit into that?
Yeah.
And like, I was also just curious.
Right.
I was like, why is it changing like this? And it's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
And how can we get important news in front of people? Because that was one of the main things was, there's a steep decline in media literacy, while there's also a very sharp increase in the amount of false information that's accessible and easily spread.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what it lives on social
I don't know
media.
if I read this somewhere, that like the first thing you see about like a news story is kind of sets your, like, unless you just don't believe it from the beginning.
Yeah.
It sort of sets your, like, well, these are the facts. I found myself, like, when I used to argue on the internet, I stopped doing that a while ago, but I would be like, well, yeah, but you're wrong. And then I was like, well, wait a minute.
Am I right?
Where did I get that from?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm stuck on it on top of that. Was there a moment when you were in school and you were like, man, I wanted to be a journalist and what I wanted is not there anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's there, but it's the way it exists is changing, and the future of it, from what I've seen, is going more along the direction of digital content. And, yeah, there was I don't know if I have a clear picture in my brain of the moment when I realized, wow, I don't know if what I wanted to do is actually what I'm going to get to do. It's more of this like undercurrent that I still experience, where I'm like, I started out as a writer. I wanted to write news, and I wanted to go out and report on things and present these stories about cool people. That was what I like to do, was features. And shifting into social media, yeah, it's cool. I get to do the creative part of it. I get to make the news digestible, and I get to put it out there for people to see and understand and actually cross paths with, instead of it just sitting in a print newspaper that people probably won't pick up.
Sure.
But yeah, there's not like a pinpoint moment where it hit me, but it's kind of just been there all along.
Huh. That's interesting. I didn't really ever think about it in those terms, but it's like, the world worked a certain way for a long time, and now it seems like every 6 months it's changing,
Oh yeah. It's yeah.
Okay. So for people that are like watching just from the internet, from their phone, it looks like you just get to go and eat a lot of food and, like what's it actually like? Like, how are you coming up with stories? How many of these things are assignments and not things you chose?
Yeah.
Like, what are you actually doing before we see that video?
Yeah. So that's actually a really good question, because people don't get to see the behind the scenes of that. It's very rare that the content I'm creating is purely my own. It's typically, we have a writer that has gone out and done some serious reporting.
Oh.
And I'm going and making content from their story.
I don't think I realized that. I mean, all of the stuff you're doing?
Not all of it, but most of it. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing, like, for example, have you seen the Dallas Dining on a Dime thing? So we have a list of, it started out as Dallas Dining on a Dime. We had a list of the best places to go and eat for under $10. Lauren wrote that. Lauren Drews Daniels, our food editor.
And that's got to be a really short list right now.
It's getting shorter, but we also do we kind of mixed it in and created a separate story of like best places for happy hours, where like maybe you can't get a $10 meal at this place every single time you go, but on Wednesdays from, I don't know, 3 to 7 p.m. you can definitely go do that.
Sure.
But anyways, that series started out from our list, and I was like, people on social media, if I just post a graphic with the places listed, might not get so much attention. But if I'm going through and trying them one by one, here's what you can get for $10 or $11, and show it to you and show you how good it looks, because often it's very delicious. Then yeah, that's where like that series was born from. And I've recently adjusted it a bit to where it's just Dallas on a Dime, not just food. It's like places where you can shop like thrift stores that have really good stuff. And then I haven't done this quite yet. It's a matter of finding the time for it. But we have a list of like neighborhoods where people can live and get the most bang for their buck, where you can have easy access to public transportation, cost of living may not be the lowest in the city, but for all of the amenities around it, it's a good deal. Anyways, where was I at?
Well, you're kind of giving me the behind the scenes, and
yeah.
you told me that there's a writer. I'm guessing your role, and correct me or adjust it, is going, hey, that would make a good video clip, or that would be a good thing to do, a recurring theme or something.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is largely. There are some things where, there are some where I do things on my own, like I create my own stuff, like about this time, actually, no, that wasn't quite on my own. I was going to say about this time last year, I did a video and went up in a plane with some guy, but we had written a story about him.
I saw that, yeah.
We'd written a story about him. His name's Grayson Taylor. Anyways, that's not a good example of what I was trying to say. There are some things that I go and I will do them on my own just because I'm like, I think this is good local content that would perform well.
Right.
But
do you have like a little bit of breathing room, or you're like, I'm just going to do this video and throw it up, and like, are you getting everything approved, or they just kind of trust you?
They trust. I mean, I'm the editor there. So think of the news. There's the news vertical, food vertical, arts and culture, and music verticals. Social is my vertical.
Gotcha.
So while I am kind of like conglomerating everything from all of those verticals, because I've been in this role for about 3 years, they by and large trust me to do the content that I do. But if I ever have like a question about something, if I'm helping to report a news story, because a lot of people aren't going to sit there and read a news story, which is unfortunate. I will send that to the news editor so that he can go through it, basically just like make sure I got all the facts straight, and make sure that sometimes there are stories where I'm not totally sure what the correct language is for whatever it is I'm discussing. And I want to make sure, if I'm talking about the Texas legislature, I want to make sure I have my facts completely straight there.
Right.
But yeah, so most of the content that goes up creatively, it's mine, but the core of it's not. I am just helping reporters get their stories onto social media.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens when you go to one of these places and you hate what you just ate?
So there was one recently that I'm not going to name them, that I ended up having to talk to our food editor about because this place made one of our lists, and I had a very bad experience there. And I had started filming a video and I just didn't post it. One of the things at The Observer is, we're often in the food realm, we're covering a lot of mom and pops, we're covering local places. And if we have a bad experience somewhere, maybe it's an isolated incident, we're not going to go put them on total blast.
That's cool, yeah.
For just like, it could have just been a fluke day.
Right.
They might have just been having a bad day. And it happened to me. And just because I have the power to post it doesn't mean that I should.
Right.
So that's kind of where the ethics come into it. And that's the thing, too, with the social media era and news. Journalistic ethics are changing a bit. You have to adjust for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not everything is like, if I go into a place and, like, the service is bad and I have to wait an hour for my food and whatever, that's probably not how it always is.
Right. And that's not even why you're going.
That's not why I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm going for the food, and maybe the food was cold because I waited an hour for it and it was maybe already done well before they gave it to me.
Right.
But it's also rare that I've been somewhere and I've just hated the food.
Yeah.
There
is definitely like a serious news element, but I feel like when it comes to like mom and pops, when it comes to like shows, you're right. It's not your job to like be brutally honest in a sense and bash them.
I'm not a critic.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not the critic.
Yeah.
I am the person that gets on TikTok and I'm like, look what our editor wrote about.
Right.
Look how good this food is.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of influencers that are technically I guess you're an influencer.
Yeah.
But
I think that I don't love that
Yeah, well, but
I
I feel like
am.
the difference between you and maybe just someone who's just doing their own thing is they're doing their own thing, and maybe they are getting paid sponsorships
Maybe
that they're not being
disclosing.
forth. Yeah, exactly. And so they're like loving stuff that maybe they don't really love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really. I mean, in a way, you've got like the best influencer job because it's a legit job. It's
Yeah.
not just you like trying to figure it out from thin air. You've got all this great content to pull off
Yeah.
of, you know.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, there's other elements to your job there. Some stories get featured on Instagram, some go to Facebook. Like, how does all of that get determined?
Yeah. So, and honestly, this has changed pretty recently. Recently, we had to change our scheduling platforms. So now every single one of our platforms is curated. And we are on, and I'm not quite as active on some as I am on others. I think we're up to like 9 platforms
Wow.
that I'm running.
Wow.
And it's all curated, and genuinely it comes down to importance of information, obviously. So like if we have something that's happening in the neighborhood that is impactful to people, that I'm going to put that on all platforms. If it has to, like when we had voting in first week of April, and there were the mix-ups with where do I go vote.
Right.
Yeah. That was content I was posting on all platforms that whole day, making sure that that information, here's where you can go vote, here's how to check to where you can go vote. That's really important. That's like kind of the top of my tier list. Where it's like, if this is going to impact people directly and hey, it's voting day, we're in a time crunch, that's going out immediately to all platforms.
Right.
The other stuff really has to do with like user behavior on platforms. So Instagram is a great place for food, and anyone who goes to our Instagram can see that. We post a lot of food content, and also our food editor, Lauren, has really started posting a lot of her own social content and collaborating with the Observer too.
I've seen that. Yeah.
So food does really good there. Instagram has always been a foodie's, like, I don't know, just like space. That's where foodies live.
That makes
is
sense.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook gets a little bit more newsy. They like to know what's happening in the suburbs. In particular, suburbs and shopping kind of tend to be top of mind on Facebook frequently.
Okay.
So Facebook likes hard news. They also like to fight about hard news in the
Yes,
comments.
they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah. And then TikTok is honestly a mix. TikTok, they like hard news there too. On TikTok, they've really been loving Lauren and her content because she's just being real. Like, she's just coming out being like, I don't know if you saw her recent video. She went to a bagel spot. She was like, the bagels at this place rock. However, it sounds like a club inside. It sounds like you can buy a Four Loko here, and I had to yell to place my order. But the bagels are great.
That's funny. Okay.
So you get it. It is almost like intuitive. I've been doing it for so long where I'm like, I know this will do well here. I know this will do well here.
Okay.
Because I have years of data to back it up. I don't have just like a list where I'm like, if it meets this criteria, it's going here.
Right. It's more intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting too, because I would have guessed that it was more of an age thing for different platforms, you know. Like
And,
there's some
yeah.
shows, like concerts I'll go to, and I go to Facebook and nobody's checked in to go to the concert, and then it's sold out. And
Yeah.
it's they're younger, and it's like, seems like it's always the case, but
Well, and that's the thing. Age does frequently impact like behavior when it comes to what content you're consuming on social media. With music in particular, I've seen that like Facebook is the place to be posting about that because we often do cover maybe like bands that our older demographics would enjoy.
you mean like most people I shoot?
Most of the people you should, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why we hire you. It's
Yeah.
like you probably listen and enjoy these bands. And our demographics on Facebook, gosh, I might be totally wrong on these. I'm not going to be totally wrong, but I'm not going to be perfect on these numbers. But Facebook skews slightly older than
That's
Instagram
what I
does.
would say too, yeah.
I think there it's more of like a 35 to 46 age range, and then Instagram is more like 25 to 36, but the 35 to 46 range is very close on Instagram.
Yeah.
So there's sharing. Like,
Yeah.
there is sharing of audience there. TikTok does skew lower. Like, that's where younger
Yeah, I don't
folks
even
are gonna
have
be.
TikTok on my phone.
Honestly, maybe don't.
Yeah. No, I had it for a little while, and then I was like, what? I don't even know what's happening. And
There's a lot happening there, and it's also, like, gosh, you can just fall into the scroll for way too long and lose your day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's one reason I don't have it.
Yeah.
Also, I know that Observer is not like a gotcha clickbait thing, but like, are you sometimes going, this is maybe going to piss people off, and that's a good reason to put it out?
Well, maybe not that it's a good reason.
Or maybe
to
not a
put
good
out.
reason, but like, I understand if it's important and you have to put it out because it's important.
Of
That's
course.
different. But like, is there times where it's like you're on the edge and you're like, well, we're going to do it and we're probably going to get a lot of flack and that's fine or that's good or, you know. Like, I guess the real question is, like, I've heard engagement is the most important thing, but is it, if it's negative engagement, is that still a good thing?
I mean, if we're looking at a metric standpoint, sure. But if you're looking at a trust standpoint, no.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying, like, ethics are... I don't want to say ethics are changing in journalism because of that. I think that that's not totally fair to journalism. But I think that, like, obviously integrity is very important. But also, working for The Observer, I've got to stand by what we publish.
Mm-hmm.
And The Observer is known for having some snark. You know, like, we put some stuff into our stories that the Dallas Morning News isn't going to put into their stories, you know?
Well, Carly's still writing for us.
Yes,
so.
yeah. And she
Little fun
definitely
dig it.
puts stuff in there.
Yeah,
Dallas Morning
I
News is-
very much enjoy how it's not like she's doing it to piss people off, but she's not
but
shying away from that at all.
She's very confident in what she writes, and I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, when it comes to what I post on social media, you know, I don't know if I always look at it as like an engagement standpoint. We do often have polarizing stories, and I know that it's going to rile people up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna post that. Because we write this content so that we write these stories for people to read them, and you know, I'm not always just, I don't know how to articulate this well, because like it's kind of sometimes yes, but not really, you know, where it's like we publish these stories, and also I have a finite number of things that I can post in a day, and if I'm low on stuff, this is going to go up.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a certain amount that has to be going through, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered that very well or like clearly for you.
No, I mean, you did. I mean, what I got from what you said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you post what you think should be posted. The Observer writes stories they think need to be written or talk about things.
Of course.
And so none of it's being put up there specifically to get people engaged and pissed off or whatever.
It's not just, it's not meant just to piss people off, but also we do write stuff intending people to read it. And we do publish stories like with the hopes of people are going to like this, or this is going to get people questioning things and they're going to want to know more.
Right.
I don't want to say that it's clickbait, because it's pretty much always good information. But, you know, as a free newspaper, I think that the more engagement, the better. But, I mean, it's not really like a gotcha thing. I'm trying to think of like a good story that can maybe be used as an example. We do have an opinion section that anytime I do post those, it's like, this is going to be interesting. Let's see what happens here.
Right.
At the end of the day, the newspaper is there to inform and allow for a community space to speak on topics. This is the court of public opinion.
Right.
At this point, here's information. Read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes there are times where I'm like, this is gonna get some good engagement.
Right. Do you often get just emails to you that are like, you're like, okay, this person is out of, like negative emails, I guess.
So actually, funny enough, we'll see if this changes it. I don't really get much because I'm not the writer.
Right.
Typically it's the writers who get those emails.
Yeah, and I've only gotten a few from writing, not from photos.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten comments. Like I get, and I get DMs to my personal Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
People find it's less emails, which is interesting because people go and find our writers' emails, but they go probably because I'm the social media editor.
Yeah.
They go to my social media, and I get mostly support. People largely follow me because they're like, I love what you guys are doing. But every now and then there's some people that you gotta block.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten the worst of it. Like, there are
Right.
people in our newsroom that have gotten much worse.
Yeah. Well, those news stories sometimes people
The
are
news stories in
getting
particular.
very personal about, and they don't
Yeah.
get that the writer's just writing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Anyone who's gone through journalism school, we're literally trained on it. Where it's like,
Oh.
especially as women too, it's like
Yeah.
we literally this may not even be a course now, but what was it? Sex and Race in the News or something like that. That was a course. I forget the title of it.
Huh.
What was it? Gender and Race or something like that. Where literally we had like a whole week that was dedicated to, hey, if you're a woman in news, these are some things you can expect.
Oh, gosh.
And we're taught how to deal with it.
Right.
So, or maybe not deal with it, but taught this is probably going to happen.
You're going to have this happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
No, I mean, it makes sense. You're a focal point, and the videos, it's just people feel like they know you, and
yeah.
they are.
Yeah. You get
Sometimes
this
they're a little too
pseudo-relationship.
friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely people who are a little too friendly. You've got people that hate you. They're like,
yeah.
oh, you are like the bane of my existence now because you're the one on my screen telling me what I don't want to hear.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, what are you, like, you're, like, what, telling you, like, well, this is a good place to get a hamburger. Like, that's the reason to get mad, you know?
Yeah, we do get, like, oh my gosh, this was a while back. We got, like, a crazy comment on, I think it was a burger video. I was just literally eating a burger, and someone was going on a rant about Selena Gomez in the comments. Totally, like, off kilter, not...
Right.
It was so weird, like a very angry comment about Selena Gomez. It was so strange. You get crazies every now and then.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
happens.
of course. So, I mean, you've only really been covering your small town and now here, but like Dallas, covering Dallas, like what are things that you love about covering Dallas, and what are cool things, you know?
That's an awesome question. Coming from a small town, this is the big city.
Yeah.
And the best thing is meeting people. Like, I have gotten to meet so many cool people. It's not even funny. Like, I'm not just talking like celebrities. I've done red carpets. I'm talking like the yous of the world, the people who are like doing cool stuff, photographing local bands. You meet people who run these awesome venues in town. You meet local artists that are like really starting to make it. And it's just so beautiful to see. And we're literally doing a series right now on social media that I'm working with our arts, culture, and music editors on, that's called This is Dallas Culture, because I've heard it frequently since I've moved up here. I moved up to North Texas in 2018, and I frequently hear Dallas doesn't have culture.
Yeah.
And moving here, I see it, so I don't understand where that comes from.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I see, because I moved here from LA, and there's somebody, what are you going to do? And I'm like,
there's so much to do.
Yeah, and I feel like I've said this many times, but it's like the Wild West in a sense that you can just make your own path, like
For
creatively.
sure.
Like there's still lots of room to do that, you know?
Yeah, and especially in like the arts and music world here, we're in Deep Ellum right now. The music history here runs so deep.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the cultural center. Just walk around. Look at the displays around.
I mean,
here.
there's argument to be made that rock and roll got its start in Deep Ellum, essentially. You know?
Yeah, and just like the blues scene here, which kind of like trickled into neo soul, and the music scene here is crazy, and the Dallas culture scene is probably like the best part of getting to cover stuff here.
Yeah.
Then I get like fun perks where I do get to do like the red carpets and stuff. And last year, probably the peak of my career at this point was, well, there may be two from last year, interviewing the Cookie Monster and interviewing Billy Bob Thornton. And he turned his microphone off.
I remember that. Yeah, that's right.
So it's like I get to do stuff like that. But on a more frequent basis, I'm talking to the people here who make Dallas what it is.
Right.
Like local restaurant owners, local chefs. That's another series we're doing, is local chefs, and getting to know them has been so cool. Like you're getting to know the people who are shaping the culinary scene here, which is a unique space. The Dallas-Fort Worth area has a very unique culinary landscape, and a lot of people are like international chefs that have come here, as well as people who've been here their whole lives. So we've got an interesting mix in the food scene too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you even have time to write? Is there writing part of your process, or?
Well, every now and then I get to write a story for editorial. I do. So another part of my job is kind of split in two, which is, kind of another part of the changing ethics. We do disclose everything that is paid for. I have 1 foot in sales and 1 foot in editorial.
Right.
Editorial is my main gig. That's my top priority. But I do advertisement content for the sales team. They sell spots on social media. So I'll go out and film reels, and obviously they're all marked sponsored or paid partnership or ad, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We also have a column that is sponsored stories. So it's called Tell Your Story -sponsored. And those are paid for stories all over the page. You can tell that it's an ad.
Right.
And I get to write those every now and then.
Okay.
On a freelance side.
Gotcha.
So when it comes to writing, it's mostly that, which for my byline is now largely advertisement content, which do I love that? Not really, considering my background. But every now and then I do get to write for the editorial team.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it's a free paper, The Observer, that's got to pay for itself somehow, so it's understandable. Another thing I was wondering, first of all, you applied for the internship. Were you thinking at that time that you were going to be doing as much on camera?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I applied to be a food writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I applied to be the food intern.
What made them shift you over?
So after I applied, I think Lauren Drews Daniels, she liked me, but she had already filled the position, and so she passed me off to our arts and culture editor at the time, Eva Raggio. And she liked me, but she was like, I actually want to try something. Are you interested in starting a TikTok account for The Observer as your internship? Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll start The Observer's TikTok.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I got to start our TikTok account from scratch as a college intern, back in like 2022.
Right.
Or something. And then after my internship, they had kind of mentioned, hey, we like what you're doing. We're interested in starting up a full-time position for this, and we would like to consider you. We'll keep you posted. And I didn't hear much of anything for probably a year.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe they're not doing that. That's okay. I'm still in school. I'll just do this. I was a TA.
Right.
And I was like, I'll just keep teaching. It's fine. And then I got a message from our editorial director one day, just an email. Hey, are you still interested in doing this? And I was like, yeah, of course. Let's set up an interview. So I went through a couple rounds of interviews, and they still liked me. And it was also probably part of I was posting on TikTok and Instagram. So people who consumed Observer content had kind of started to get to know me already.
Right.
And they were like, let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we'll take you on as
Right.
as our new editor. And I was just wrapping up grad school. And I had just done all this research on how the news functions on social media. So I was really hungry for it. I was like, yeah, let's do this thing.
Right. It's like the perfect convergence of timing. Yeah. Okay. So when you started all this, newsprint, television, that was the primary news source. And now it's definitely social media. Do you feel like that's kind of like a victory, or does it make your life even more complicated?
Well, I don't want to say that it makes my life complicated, because it is my life,
Right.
I've made a career out of this. There's definitely some points that make me a little nervous about social media becoming the main spot where people are consuming news. And I say that as someone who does this for a living. I am trying to get accurate information out to people as frequently as possible in the place that they're consuming it. The fallback there is that there is endless information on social media, and a lot of it is not true.
Yeah.
And there is a decline in media literacy, and I don't necessarily think it is the fault of the average consumer. I think it is the fault of this digital age, where AI is getting increasingly harder to recognize as fake.
Yep.
Very quickly. And people can just like lie on social media and it gets picked up as truth. And there have even been cases where major news outlets have been tricked by false information.
Right.
So I understand that people may not trust news, but at the same time, like, you're on social media and you're consuming so much information there and you're taking a lot of stuff as fact. I think it's best if you take credible news organizations' content as fact.
Right.
But yeah, the shift from TV being predominant when it comes to news consuming habits, shifting to social media, I don't know. It's a win for my career, obviously. But I do worry what it means for the future of news. And it's also a little bit exciting because I'm getting to be a part of the change in real time, right? So I am working to make sure that like the Observer is shifting in a way to where we're still able to reach people. And for free. That's the main point, is giving people access to, because news shouldn't be a luxury.
Yeah.
News should be accessible to everyone, especially local news, stuff that's impacting you where you live. Did that answer your question? I feel like I just went on a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
I'm passionate about that in particular.
Yeah, no, that's why you're here. These are the things people want to hear about. I think we're getting close to the end.
Yeah.
What do you see in your future?
Yeah.
Is this the thing you're going to keep doing, like, after this? Like, what are some goals that
I don't think I could ever give up news. I really don't. It's something that's very fulfilling to me, being able to give people necessary information. I don't think I would make the shift into just a marketing gig or social media management for a brand, because to me that would just feel like, I'm working to make someone else money. In this job, I feel like I'm working to help our community out, make sure that people know what is happening in their backyard, in their neighborhood, the important things that are going to impact how Dallasites live their lives, and also find a good place to eat or get $5 margaritas.
Right.
So yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Jordan, so much for joining us today.
You.
We'll be keeping our eyes out on our Instagrams or TikToks, however we consume, to see you and your stories.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, right on. I'd like to thank Jordan Maddox for being our guest. You can see her pretty much anywhere online, but we'll have the links in the show notes. Thank you to the Deep Ellum Community Center for letting us record here. Theme song Unstoppable by Salim Nirala, and the outro is The Place to Be by Electric Ants. Thanks again to the Mullen & Mullen Music Project for their support. Like, subscribe, and share the podcast, and we'll see you next week.